The Ayodhya dispute is a political, historical and socio-religious debate in India, centered on a plot of land in the city of Ayodhya, located in Faizabad district, Uttar Pradesh. The main issues revolve around access to a site traditionally regarded among Hindus to be the birthplace of the Hindu deity Rama, the history and location of the Babri Mosque at the site, and whether a previous Hindu temple was demolished or modified to create the mosque. The Babri Mosque was destroyed by hardline Hindu activists during a political rally which turned into a riot on December 6, 1992. A subsequent land title case was lodged in the Allahabad High Court, the verdict of which was pronounced on September 30, 2010. In the landmark hearing, the three judges of the Allahabad High Court ruled that the 2.77 acres of Ayodhya land be divided into three parts, with one-third going to the Ram Lalla or Infant Rama represented by the Hindu Maha Sabha for the construction of the Ram temple, one-third going to the Islamic Sunni Waqf Board and the remaining one-third going to a Hindu religious denomination Nirmohi Akhara. While the three-judge bench was not unanimous that the disputed structure was constructed after a demolition of a temple, it did agree that a temple or a temple structure predated the mosque at the same site. The excavations by the Archaeological Survey of India were heavily used as evidence by the court that the predating structure was a massive Hindu religious building. Religious background Ram Janmabhoomi The Ayodhya debate centers around the land known today as Ram Janmabhoomi, on which the Babri Mosque was built in 1528. In Hindu mythology, Ayodhya is the birthplace of the god King Rama, the son of Dasharatha, the ruler of Ayodhya, and his queen Kausalya. He is worshipped by many Hindus as an avatar, or incarnation, of Vishnu. According to the Garuda Purana, a Hindu religious text, Ayodhya is one of 7 sacred sites where moksha, or a final release from the cycle of death and rebirth, may be obtained. Babri Masjid When the Mughal king Babur invaded North India from Kabul in 1525, he first defeated Ibrahim Lodi at the First Battle of Panipat and then the Rajput king of Chittagong, Rana Sangram Singh, at Kanwa. After these triumphs, Babur took over a substantial part of northern India. One of his generals, Mir Baqi, came to Ayodhya in 1528 and after reportedly destroying a pre-existing temple of Rama at the site, built a mosque, which has come to be called Masjid-i-Janmasthan as well as Babri Masjid. The Babri Mosque was one of the largest mosques in Uttar Pradesh, a state in India with considerable Muslim population. Both the Hindus and Muslims are said to have worshipped at the mosque temple, Muslims inside the mosque and Hindus outside the mosque but inside the compound. After the British took over the state, they put up a railing between the two areas to prevent disputes. Historical background Gupta period In Buddha's time the present-day Ayodhya was called Zarketa and it was one of the 6 largest cities of North India. During the Gupta times either Kumaragupta or Skandagupta made it their capital, after which it came to be called Ayodhya. Kalidasa wrote Raghavamsa here, and referred to Gopratara Tirtha, where Rama was believed to have entered the waters of Sarayu in his ascent to heaven. According to a local tradition recorded by Francis Buchanan and Alexander Cunningham, Ayodhya became desolate after Rama's ascent to heaven and Vikramaditya revived it. Prabhavata Gupta, the daughter of Chandragupta II, was a Rama devotee. Her son, Pravarisna II wrote Sethabandhar, in which Rama was regarded as identical to Vishnu. He also built a temple to Rama at Pravarapura in about 450 AD. Gahadevla period After the Guptas, the capital of North India moved to Kannauj and Ayodhya fell into relative neglect. It was revived by the Gahadevlas, coming to power in the 11th century AD. The Gahadevlas were Vaishnavas. They built several Vishnu temples in Ayodhya, 5 of which survived till the end of Aurangzeb's reign. Hans T. Backer concludes that there might have been a temple at the supposed birth spot of Rama built by the Gahadevlas. In subsequent years, the cult of Rama developed within Vaishnavism, with Rama being regarded as the foremost avatar of Vishnu. Consequently, Ayodhya's importance as a pilgrimage center grew. In particular, multiple versions of Ayodhya Mahatmya prescribe the celebration of Ram Navami. Mughal period In modern times, we find a mosque at the supposed birth spot of Rama, which is on a large mound in the center of Ayodhya, called the Ramadurg or Ramkot. The mosque bore an inscription stating that it was built in 1528 AD by Mir Baqi on the orders of Babur. How this mosque came into being is discussed in these sources: Karam, Maulvi Abdul. Tariq-i Pania Madinat al-Aliya, History of Pania City of Sufis. Lucknow. Afa, Maulvi Abdul, first published prior to 1932. Gumgamashta Halat Ayodhya, Forgotten Events of Ayodhya. Lucknow, Nami Press. Sita Ram, Avad Vasi Lala. Ayodhya Ka Itihasa, History of Ayodhya. Allahabad. According to them, the young Babur came from Kabul to Oud in disguise, dressed as a Qalandar, probably as part of a fact-finding mission. Here he met the Sufi saints Shah Jalal and Sayyid Musa Ashiqan and took a pledge in return for their blessings for conquering Hindustan. The pledge is not spelled out in the 1981 edition of Afa's book, but it is made clear that it is in pursuance of this pledge that he got the Babri Mosque constructed after conquering Hindustan. The original book was written in Persian by Maulvi Abdul Karim, a spiritual descendant of Ashiqan, and it was translated into Urdu by his grandson Maulvi Abdul Afa with additional commentary. The older editions of Afa's book contain more detail which seems to have been excised in the 1981 edition. Lala Sita Ram, who had access to the older edition in 1932, wrote, "The Faquis answered that they would bless him if he promised to build a mosque after demolishing the Janmez Than temple. Babur accepted the Faquis' offer and returned to his homeland. The fact that Babur came in the guise of a Qalandar is corroborated in Abdullah's Tariq-i Dawoodi, where it is detailed that he met the Sultan Sikandar Lodi in Delhi in the same disguise. The inscription on the Babri Mosque itself names him as Babur Qalandar. Musa Ashiqan's grave is situated close to the Babri Mosque site, whose shrine uses two of the black basalt columns with Hindu carvings used in the Babri Mosque, indicative of his role in the destruction of the prior temple. While we have had a mosque bearing an inscription to the effect that it was built on orders of Babur in 1528, there are no other records of the mosque from this period. The Baburnama does not mention either the mosque or the destruction of a temple. Tulsters, who began writing the Ramcharitmanas in Ayodhya on Rama's birthday in 1574, mentioned the great birthday festival in Ayodhya but made no mention of a mosque at Rama's birthplace. Abul Faz al-Ibn Mubarak, who wrote Akbarnama, completing the third volume Ain-i Akbari in 1598, described the birthday festival in Ayodhya, the residence of Rama, and the holiest place of antiquity, but made no mention of a mosque. William Finch, the English traveller that visited Ayodhya around 1611, and wrote about the ruins of the Ramachand castle and houses, where Hindus believed the great god took flesh upon him to see the tamasha of the world. He found pandas in the ruins of the fort, who were recording the names of the pilgrims, a practice that was said to go back to antiquity. Late Mughal period. The first known report of a mosque appears in a book Saif-i-Chil Nasib Bahadur Shahi, said to have been written by a daughter of the Emperor Bahadur Shahi in the early 18th century. It mentioned mosques having been constructed after demolishing the temples of the idolatrous Hindus situated at Mathura, Banaras and Oud etc. Hindus are said to have called these demolished temples in Oud Sita Raswa, and Hanuman's abode. It should be borne in mind that the mosques at Mathura and Banaras were built by Aurangzeb, not Babur. Jai Singh II purchased land and established Jai-Singh-puras in all Hindu religious centres in North India, including Mathura, Vrindavan, Banaras, Allahabad, Ujjain and Ayodhya. The documents of these activities have been preserved in the Kapad Dwar collection in the City Palace Museum in Jaipur. Professor Aneth, who has examined these records, concludes that Jai Singh had acquired the land of Rama Janmez Than in 1717. The ownership of the land was vested in the deity. The hereditary title of the ownership was recognized and enforced by the Mughal state from 1717. He also found a letter from Agamaz the Trilokshand, dated 1723, stating that, while under the Muslim administration people had been prevented from taking a ritual bath in the Sarayu River, the establishment of the Jai-Singh-pura has removed all impediments. The Jesuit priest Joseph Tiafanthola, who visited Oudh in 1766–1771, wrote, "Emperor Aurangzeb got the fortress called Ramsat demolished and got a Muslim temple, with triple domes, constructed at the same place. Others say that it was constructed by Babur. 14 black stone pillars of 5 span high, which had existed at the site of the fortress, are seen there. 12 of these pillars now support the interior arcades of the mosque." This ambiguity between Aurangzeb and Babur could be significant. Diafanthola also wrote that Hindus worshipped a square box raised 5 inches above the ground, which was said to be called the bedi, that is, the cradle. The reason for this is that once upon a time, here was a house where Vishnu was born in the form of Ram. Rama's birthday was said to be celebrated every year, with a big gathering of people, which was so famous in the entire India. Summary It can be seen from the historical outline that Ayodhya became a pilgrimage centre devoted to Rama in the 16th century, if not earlier. The site of the Babri Masjid continued to be called Rama's Fort, and was said to be in ruins for at least some of the time. It nevertheless continued to attract Hindu pilgrims. In the 18th century, a belief took shape that this site contained Rama's birth spot as well as Sita's kitchen. Beginnings of the dispute. The first recorded instances of religious violence in Ayodhya occurred in the 1850s over a nearby mosque at Hanumangari. The Babri Mosque was attacked by Hindus in the process. Since then, local Hindu groups have made occasional demands that they should have the possession of the site and that they should be allowed to build a temple on the site, all of which were denied by the colonial government. In 1946, an offshoot of the Hindu Maha Sabha called Akhil Bharatiya Ramayana Mahasabha started an agitation for the possession of the site. In 1949, Sant Digvijay Nath of Gorakhnath Math joined the ABRM and organised a 9-day continuous recitation of Ramcharitmanas, at the end of which the Hindu nationalists broke into the mosque and placed idols of Rama inside. People were led to believe that the idols had miraculously appeared inside the mosque. The date of the event was December 22, 1949. Jawaharlal Nehru insisted that the idols should be removed. However, the local official KKK Nair refused to carry out orders claiming that it would lead to communal riots. The police locked the gates so that the public could not enter. However, the idols remained inside and priests were allowed entry to perform daily worship. So, the mosque had been converted into a de facto temple. Both the Sunni Waqf Board and the ABRM filed civil suits staking their respective claims to the site. The land was declared to be under dispute, and the gates remained locked. Christophe J. Flot has called the Gorakhnath wing of Hindu nationalism the other Saffron, which has maintained its existence separately from the mainstream Hindu nationalism of the Sangh Parivar. After the Vishva Hindu Parishad was formed in 1964 and started agitating for the Babri Masjid site, the two strands of saffron politics came together. The district magistrate KKK Nair, who refused to carry out orders, was eventually dismissed, but he became a local hero. Demolition of the Babri Mosque. In the 1980s, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, belonging to the mainstream Hindu nationalist family Sangh Parivar, launched a new movement to reclaim the site for Hindus and to erect a temple dedicated to the infant Rama at this spot. The Bharatiya Janata Party, formed in 1980 from the remnants of the Yana Sangh, became the political face of the campaign. In 1986, a district judge ruled that the gates would be reopened and Hindus permitted to worship inside, providing a major boost to the movement. In September 1990, BJP leader L.K. Advani began a Rath Yatra to Ayodhya in order to generate support for the movement. Advani later stated in his memoirs, "If Muslims are entitled to an Islamic atmosphere in Mecca, and if Christians are entitled to a Christian atmosphere in the Vatican, why is it wrong for the Hindus to expect a Hindu atmosphere in Ayodhya?" The yatra resulted in communal riots in many cities it passed through, prompting the government of Bihar to arrest Advani. In spite of this, a large number of Kasavaks or Sangh Parivar activists reached Ayodhya and tried to attack the mosque. They were stopped by the police and the paramilitary forces, resulting in a pitched battle in which several Kasavaks were killed. Accusing the central government of VP Singh of being weak, the BJP withdrew its support, necessitating fresh elections. In these elections, the BJP won a majority in the Uttar Pradesh Assembly, and also increased its share in the Lok Sabha. On December 6, 1992, the VHP and its associates, including the BJP, organized a rally involving 150,000 VHP and BJP Car-Sevaks at the site of the mosque. The ceremonies included speeches by BJP leaders such as Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi and Uma Bharti. The mob grew restive through the duration of the speeches, and stormed the mosque shortly after noon. A police cordon placed there to protect the mosque was heavily outnumbered. The mosque was attacked with a number of improvised tools, and brought to the ground in a few hours. This occurred despite a commitment from the state government to the Indian Supreme Court that the mosque would not be harmed. More than 2,000 people were killed in the riots following the demolition. Riots broke out in many major Indian cities including Mumbai, Delhi and Hyderabad. On December 16, 1992, the Liburan Commission was set up by the Government of India to probe the circumstances that led to the demolition of the Babri Mosque. It was the longest-running commission in India's history with several extensions granted by various governments. The report found a number of people to be culpable in the demolition, including BJP leaders like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Lal Krishna Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, then Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Kalyan Singh, Pramod Mahajan, Uma Bharti and Vairaj Scindia, as well as VHP leaders like Giriraj Kishore and Ashok Singhal. Other prominent political leaders indicted by the commission include late Shiv Sena chief Bal Thackeray and former RSS leader K. Govindacharya. Relying on the testimonies of several eyewitnesses, the report stated that many of these leaders had made provocative speeches at the rally that provoked the demolition. It also stated that they could have stopped the demolition if they had so wished. Many Muslim organizations have continued to express outrage at the destruction of the disputed structure. In July 2005, terrorists attacked the makeshift temple at the site of the destroyed mosque. In 2007, M. N. Gopal Das, the then head of the Ram Temple, received phone calls making threats against his life. Many terror attacks by banned jihadi outfits like IM cited demolition of Babri Mosque as an excuse for terrorist attacks. The legal case continues regarding the title deed of the land tract, which is a government-controlled property. Early historical surveys. In 1767, Jesuit priest Joseph Tiafenthola recorded Hindus worshipping and celebrating Ramanavami at the site of the mosque. In 1788, Tiafenthola's French works were published in Paris, the first to suggest that the Babri Mosque was on the birthplace of Rama, saying that Emperor Aurangzeb demolished the fortress called Ramkot, and erected on the same place a Mahometan temple with 3 cupolas reclaimed by Hindus through numerous wars after death of Aurangzeb in 1707 AD, like they earlier fortified it during Jahangir's rule as Ramkot. During the 19th century, the Hindus in Ayodhya were recorded as continuing a tradition of worshipping Rama on the Ramkot hill. According to British sources, Hindus and Muslims from the Faizabad area worshipped together in the Babri Mosque complex in the 19th century until about 1855. P. Kanji wrote in 1870. It is said that up to that time, the Hindus and Mohammedans alike used to worship in the mosque temple. Since the British rule, a railing has been put up to prevent dispute, within which, in the mosque the Mohammedans pray, while outside the fence the Hindus have raised a platform on which they make their offerings. This platform was outside the disputed structure but within its precincts. In 1858, the muezzin of the Babri Mosque said in a petition to the British government that the courtyard had been used by Hindus for hundreds of years. The British recognised the religious and political tension between the Muslims and Hindus. An early census, taken in 1869, found the Hindu people to comprise 66.4% of the total population in Ayodhya, and a little over 60% in nearby Faizabad. The British contended that the Ayodhya area was primarily Hindu, not in regards to the census, but to the chief spiritual significance for the birthplace of Rama. Mahant Ram case equals, in 1885, Mahant Raghubar Ram moved the courts for permission to erect a temple just outside the Babri Mosque premises. Despite validating the claim of the petitioner, the Faizabad district judge dismissed the case, citing the passage of time. On March 18, 1886, the judge passed an order in which he wrote, "I visited the land in dispute yesterday in the presence of all parties. I found that the masjid built by Emperor Babur stands on the border of Ayodhya, that is to say, to the west and south it is clear of habitations. It is most unfortunate that a masjid should have been built on land specially held sacred by the Hindus, but as that event occurred 356 years ago, it is too late now to agree with the grievances." Post-independence, several later mosques were built in Faizabad district, in which the pilgrim city of Ayodhya falls. Ayodhya itself has a small Muslim population, though there are substantial numbers of Muslims 7 kilometers away at district headquarters Faizabad. Since 1949, by Indian government order, Muslims were not permitted to be closer than 200 yards away to the site. The main gate remained locked, though Hindu pilgrims were allowed to enter through a side door. The 1986 Allahabad High Court ordered the opening of the main gate and restored the site in full to the Hindus. Hindu groups later requested modifications to the Babri Mosque, and drew up plans for a new grand temple with government permissions. Riots between Hindu and Muslim groups took place as a result. Since then the matter is sub judice and this political, historical and socio-religious debate over the history and location of the Babri Mosque is known as the Ayodhya dispute. Excavations Archaeological excavations by the Archaeological Survey of India in 1970, 1992 and 2003 in and around the disputed site have clearly found the evidence indicating that a large Hindu complex existed on the site. In 2003, by the order of an Indian court, the Archaeological Survey of India was asked to conduct a more in-depth study and an excavation to ascertain the type of structure that was beneath the rubble indicated definite proof of a temple under the mosque. However, it could not be ascertained if it was a Rama temple as remnant had more resemblance to a Shiva temple. In the words of ASI researchers, they discovered distinctive features associated with temples of North India. Excavations further yielded stone and decorated bricks as well as mutilated sculpture of a divine couple and carved architectural features, including foliage patterns, amalaka, kapitapali, durjam with semicircular shrine pilaster, broke octagonal shaft of black schist pillar, lotus motif, circular shrine having pranjala in the north and 50 pillar bases in association with a huge structure. Before the archaeological opinion was published, there were some differing viewpoints. In his Communal History and Rama's Ayodhya, written prior to the ASI researchers, Professor Ram Sharma writes, Ayodhya seems to have emerged as a place of religious pilgrimage in medieval times. Although Chapter 85 of the Vishnu Smriti lists as many as 52 places of pilgrimage, including towns, lakes, rivers, mountains, etc., it does not include Ayodhya in this list. Sharma also notes that Tulsidas, who wrote the Ramcharitmanas in 1574 at Ayodhya, does not mention it as a place of pilgrimage. This suggests that there was no significant Hindu temple at the site of the Babri Mosque, or that it had ceased to be one, after the mosque was built. After the demolition of the mosque in 1992, Professor Ram Sharan Sharma along with historians Surajban, M. Atharali and Dwijendra Narayan Jha wrote the historian's report to the nation saying that the assumption that there was a temple at the disputed site was mistaken, and that there was no valid reason to destroy the mosque. The 2010 Allahabad High Court judgment came down heavily on these eminent historians, with one of the judges remarking that he was surprised to see in the zeal of helping the parties in whose favor they were appearing, these witnesses went and wrote a totally new story. Udit Raja's Buddha Education Foundation claimed that the structure excavated by ASI in 2003 was a Buddhist stupa destroyed during and after the Muslim invasion of India. Title cases In 1950, Gopal Singh Visharad filed a title suit with the Allahabad High Court seeking injunction to offer puja at the disputed site. A similar suit was filed shortly after but later withdrawn by Paramans Das of Ayodhya. In 1959, the Nirmohi Akhara, a Hindu religious institution, filed a third title suit seeking direction to hand over the charge of the disputed site, claiming to be its custodian. A fourth suit was filed by the Muslim Central Board of Waqf for declaration and possession of the site. The Allahabad High Court bench began hearing the case in 2002, which was completed in 2010. However, the bench withheld its verdict till September 24. After the Supreme Court dismissed a plea to defer the High Court verdict, the High Court set September 30, 2010 as the final date for pronouncing the judgment. On September 30, 2010, the High Court of Allahabad, the three-member bench comprising Justices S.U. Khan, Sattar Agarwal and D.V. Sharma, ruled that the disputed land be split into three parts. The site of the Ram Lalla idol would go to the party representing Ram Lalla Viraman, Nirmohi Akhara to get Sita Raswa and Ram Shabutera, and the Sunni Waqf board to get the rest. The court also ruled that the status quo should be maintained for 3 months. Reacting to the verdict, all the three parties announced that they would appeal against the division of disputed land in the Supreme Court of India. All the three parties, however, conceded that this judgment was an important step towards the resolution of a long-standing dispute. Timeline. See also: Ram K. Nam, a documentary on the Ayodhya dispute by Anand Patwardhan, conversion of non-Muslim places of worship into mosques, Islam and other religions, Temple Mount, similarly disputed location in Jerusalem. References. Footnotes sources Further reading, Aswathi. Babri Masjid demolition, a timeline. 1 India. Retrieved December 6, 2014. Bajaj, Jitendra, ed. Ayodhya and the Future of India. Madras, Centre for Policy Studies. Elst, Cohenrod. Ram Janmabhoomi vs Babri Masjid. New Delhi, Voice of India. Elst, Cohenrod. Ayodhya, The Case Against the Temple. ISBN 81-85990-75-1. Emmanuel, Dominic. The Mumbai Bomb Blasts and the Ayodhya Tangle. National Catholic Reporter. Retrieved December 7, 2014. Engineer, ASGHAR Ali, ed. Babri Masjid Ram Janmabhoomi Controversy. Delhi, Ajanta Publications. Hasna, Ronnie War on Sacred Grounds. Ithaca, Cornell University Press. Neth, Babri Masjid of Ayodhya. Jaipur, The Historical Research Documentation Program. Nandi, A. Trivedi, S. Maram, S. Yannick, Ashiut. Creating a Nationality, the Ram Janmabhoomi Movement and Fear of the Self. Oxford University Press. ISBN 0-19-564271-6. Rajaram, N.S. Profiles in Deception, Ayodhya and the Dead Sea Scrolls. New Delhi, Voice of India. Sharma, Ram Sharan, ed. Communal History and Rama's Ayodhya. Delhi, People's Publishing House. Srivastava, Sushil. Disputed Mosque, A Historical Inquiry. New Delhi, Vistar Publication. Thackson, Wheeler M., ed. Baburnama, Memoirs of Babur, Prince and Emperor. New York and London, Oxford University Press. Thapar, Ramila. A Historical Perspective on the Story of Rama. In Thapar, Ramila. Cultural Pasts, Essays in Early Indian History. New Delhi, Oxford University Press. ISBN 0-19-564050-0. Varma, Thakar Prasad. Gupta, Saraya Prakash. Ayodhya Kai Shayas Evam Puritato Euro Rigveda Kalse Abtak. New Delhi, Bharata Itihasa Evam Sanskrit Parashad and EK Printworld. External links, Nirmohi Akhara ready for out-of-court settlement to Euro TCN News, Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid a Euro Ayodhya bench, gist of judgments at Allahabad High Court.